So you've got a seller that wants too much for their house. How many times do you meet homeowners that are looking to sell their home, but they initially start at a crazy number? We're going to talk about that today, and we're going to talk about how to get them to a realistic number that actually makes sense and you can get that property listed, but also get it sold. Welcome to today's morning meeting. I'm Greg Luther, the one guy that meets with you every single week to help you in growing your real estate business. Today's topic's a big one because every single agent deals with it. If you're meeting homeowners, they're going to want too much for their home. They're going to tell you all the reasons their home is superior, the reasons it's better than all the comps that you have, which you shouldn't be using comps anyway. We'll talk a little bit about that. And most importantly, they're going to act like they're not listing with you unless you'll agree to their price. Well, why would you list with them anyway? Why would you take that listing if there's a significant chance it's not going to sell? Every homeowner you meet is going to want too much. I work with a lot of agents that maybe they start contacting FSBOs in their area. And they say, well, the problem with these FSBOs is they're all grossly overpriced. Well, that's every homeowner in town. It's just they've published that fact. They've actually put it on a website, probably Zillow or forsalebyowner.com or whatever. They've published the fact that they want too much for their home. But if you knocked on every door or you talk to every seller that's wanting to sell, they're going to want too much for their house. As a matter of fact, if we owned a car dealership in town and we sold shiny brand new cars and everybody wanted our brand new cars, you know what percentage of the people that come in with a trade-in are going to want too much for their car? Every single one. You'll never meet one that's like, just give me $1,000. That's good enough. I know it's worth $5,000, but I don't want to be greedy. It never happens. They always want, what they want to do is make it easier on them. So they want it to be whatever I owe. If you can get me out on this thing, break even, I'll take it. Well, the same is true on housing. They believe their home is superior to everybody else's, and they're going to try and negotiate with you or fight with you as to why it's worth more. So I wanted to go into detail on that today and kind of talk a little bit about how you get them to the right price, because that is the key factor to you getting sold. One thing I've pointed out to agents a lot is for attorneys, as an example, if an attorney is representing someone, you've seen those ads where they're like, I don't get paid unless you get paid. Well, what that means is they're not charging you a fee. They're taking a percentage of the winnings. And they only get paid if you win. That's called taking it on contingency. They're taking that case on contingency. They only get paid if they're going to win. So you have to go in, you have to plead your case to them, and they're looking at, does this look like a slam dunk deal, or am I going to put in a whole bunch of hours and never get paid? Let me ask you something. Isn't that exactly what we do with listings? Every one of them we meet, we only get paid if we win. So if you go out there and that homeowner, it's worth 500,000 and the homeowner says, I want 550. No, you're not going to beat them up later. And by the way, 70% of their showings happen in the first 21 days. So I hope you're not trying to beat them up after 21 days to get it to a realistic price. Your job is to get them as much as you possibly can under the best terms and make sure everything works out well for them. But you also have to advise them if they're taking a wrong turn. And one of those wrong turns that they're taking is overpricing their home and missing out on that initial surge that we need during that first 21 days. So don't accept a job if you don't know that you're going to get paid, or if you know there's a significant chance you won't get paid. This would be the same as you going to work somewhere and all the people that work there are like, we haven't had a paycheck in weeks. You're like, oh, well, I'll get a paycheck. If you walk into a listing and they want too much for their home and you know this is unrealistic, it's certainly not going to happen, why would you accept that job? So today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how you get them to the right price, because everybody you meet is going to want too much. Now, the worst thing you can do is take a tour of the home and sit down and ask the dumbest question a realtor could ever ask. What do you think that is? Somebody let me know what you think the worst question you could ever ask that you should never ask them, because there's no benefit to the answer. But when I've listened to recordings, audio recordings of agents going on their appointments, they always ask this question. It's the dumbest question you should ask. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, before we get started here, let me ask you, how much would you like to get for your home? $78 billion. Why would you ask that? What does that have to do with what it's worth? The only thing that can do is take this big, ugly, hairy number $729,000 and put it on the table for us to beat that thing down now. Why would you put that on the table? Why would you put that up? Never once have you asked that question and they gave you a number that's 30,000 less than it's worth. It's never happened once. It's always 30,000 more than it's worth. So why would you ask that question? It doesn't do anything but initially start building that fence, building that wall that you're going to have to climb over. So I don't know why you would care about why you're like, well, I want to get a feel for where, let me tell you the feel for where they're at. They want too much for their home. So it doesn't matter how much, whether that's 20 grand or that's 300 grand, it doesn't matter. What we're trying to do is get them to the right price. So the last thing I want to do is ask them, well, how much would you like to get for your home? That is a really bad question. That'd be like me going on a date and I meet the lady and I say, before we start dinner and everything here, let me ask, what would be the perfect man for you? Like, what are you looking for in a man? If she starts talking about abs and strong jawline and captain of the football team and whatever the hell she decides, like, why would you put that shit on the table? Here's what I got. You're going to take it and be interested or you're not. But the last thing I want to do is have them create the perfect scenario for how much their home is going to sell for. How many times, back in the day when we had the no money down financing and everybody was selling their home at premium prices and so many buyers buying and all of that, the problem we had was they were saying, well, as long as you can pay off my first mortgage and my second mortgage, well, what'd you get a second mortgage for? Well, I got a second mortgage because I bought the boat. Okay, so you want the buyer to pay off your boat? That's what has nothing to do with the sale price of your home, how much it's worth based on other competing sales in the area. You actually want them to pay you more for your house because you took out an equity line for more than it was worth. It appraised for more than market value. If homes didn't appraise for more than market value, we would never have foreclosures. But it appraised for more than market value, which is why you're upside down right now. Again, if they didn't appraise higher than they're actually worth, you wouldn't be upside down. They've been in the home a year and they're 30, 40,000 upside down. And they want the buyer to pay that premium because it's convenient for them to make that happen. Well, that's not how it works. So what we do is we go in and I want to show you the magic scenario here of exactly how you make this work. You go in, you do your tour, and a lot of you that have been through the bulletproof presentation, that video training that I do to show you the 5 chapters of a successful listing presentation, taking a tour of the home, 3/4 of the way through, you ask very specific questions. You end up at the kitchen table every single time. You go through your value proposition. You get them to opt in with you first. That's the soft close, right? So Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, based on what we've covered so far, would you agree that provided we can agree on price and terms, I'm by far the best agent to expose your home to the most opportune buyers? Would that be a fair statement? And you get a yes, and then you go to price and commission. If you don't get a yes, you don't skate out into that thin ice. You go back and you build your value proposition again. So they agree you can expose the home to them. They have to choose their agent based on who can expose it to the most opportune buyers, which ultimately supply and demand. It will create more demand for the home, thus selling it for the most amount of money. We'll get into price and terms and everything else, but if you're not agreeing that I'm the one for you, it doesn't matter what my opinion is on price. We're not doing business anyway. See you later. Now, again, that's the bulletproof training. Those of you that are in inner circle coaching, you've got access to all of that. You can go through that whole chapter by chapter, the 5 chapters of a successful listing presentation. But then when we get to pricing, here's the magic scenario. What you say, here's the script. Let's say the home is worth $650,000. Okay. Here's the script you use to do the big reveal. You've got everything in your bag. You haven't brought anything out. Here's the magic words. Listen, your home will sell at $650,000. Write it down. That is amazing. You tell them what it's worth. If it makes you feel better, you can start with, in my professional opinion, your home will sell for exactly $650,000. If that makes you feel better, you can do that. What you don't want to do is bring out all of the damn comps and the CMA. You guys know what a CMA is. That's the Country Music Awards. Ask anybody in the world. They'll say that's Country Music Award. Oh, no, it means comparative market analysis. I don't need an analysis of the market. The market sucks. You're going to do an analysis of that? What are you talking? Well, I'm saying I'll tell you how much your home is worth. Oh, okay. Well, why don't you just do that then? Enough with the BS. How about this? Your home's worth $650,000. Now, if I need data, I've got it and I'll bring it out. But the last thing I want to do is bring it out for them to beat it up. Let me tell you why. I've got a pretty sweet Mercedes in the driveway here in the garage that I never drive. That's not the vehicle that I drive, but it's pretty freaking sweet. It's the matte black and very rare and G-Class and all of that stuff. It's a really sweet car. If I took it into the dealership to sell it today, I don't have a loan on it or anything like that. If I took it in to sell it, we never have a conversation about if you can get me out on it, if I'm break even, whatever. That wouldn't come up. But if they show me, well, Mr. Luther, thank you so much for bringing in your Mercedes. We'd love to buy it. And what I'd like to show you is the last 3 that we've bought here. This one's much like yours, but it doesn't have the sunroof. You better give me that thing. You give me that. Look at that. Look at the tires on this thing. This doesn't even look like my car. Look, this doesn't have the premium rims. Look at the miles on that. This is, if you think that's a comp, you don't even know what my car is. That's what happens with every single homeowner when you bring that crap out, because they are trying to fight for their position. Why would you put yourself in that position? We're building that wall. We're putting another level of bricks across the top of that wall. We already asked them how much they want. We built it this high. Now we're doing another level. Now it's over our eyes. We can't even connect with these people. We're screaming over the wall as to why they should work with us. Who told you that comps is the best way to do it? Real estate college? Now, there's a way we can use comps, and I want to show you that. I don't want you to think, somebody in the comments here, oh, I can't believe we have to. It's legal. You have to have them sign the comp. You think this is my first day on the job? I've been doing this 25 years. I've listed more properties and been involved with more listings than absolutely any human on the planet. Nobody gets higher fees than us. I have a desk drawer full. I know I show you guys every week. I have a desk drawer full of closings that we've had, actual closing statements that we've had, where we're getting 18% commissions. Don't tell me about how it works in your area. We do this nationwide.